Hi, folks. Nick Tuckert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Sorry for the ever so slight multi-second delay. I got all settled and realized my 8 o'clock meds were still in the living room and not in the little dingly thing around my neck. But before we get going, let's pay some bills metaphorically. First is a huge shout out to the amazing Joe Bachman, who was just here and is the sponsor of our lovely program. Tell me the branding is here so I can. No, it's not on this one. I will. Fine. Go to JB Tech Apps. Yes, I know. Yes. And yeah, we are having, friends, colleagues, Romans, what is affectionately called an evening. All right, so let's back to things. Thank you, Joe Bachman, for your lovely donation. If you want to help keep the Historical Fencing Guild mostly upright, if it looks like we're having a little technical difficulties back here, it's because we are. Swing on by our Patreon at www.patreon.com/the Historical Fencing Guild. Or remember, the gift of Western martial arts is a gift that will keep giving. So consider getting a copy of The Simple Sword, The Fighting Axe, and The Simple Spear this holiday season for the loved ones you want to be able to defend themselves. And the Big Stompy Robots core rulebook, where you will find not only many wonderful opportunities to play games and blow things up, but it is the home of the JBTU. Yes, folks, the Jobot Techno Union is a canon faction that one can play as in this lovely game. Wow! Okay. We actually have a good bit to talk about. I will try to bring up what I was going to bring up, in that there is a deal going on PHA. And PHA, for all those who need to know, is excuse me, let me try make sure. Purple Heart Arms, Purple Heart Armory. Yep, that is not working for me, so it's going to have to be question mark. Why is it doing that? We'll see. Bam. So remember to put question mark. Click equals 1745 into that, and let's get this moved to a new window where I can have everything set up. We had some, like I said, we had some technical difficulties, but friends, we are making it work. I always do. And we are under a bit of a wind advisory situation, so there may be a bit of flux. Be sure to hit the like. We're going to talk shop. Now, we have a lot of comments in the chat. I'm going to go through the comments. We're going to talk about, hopefully, the deal that's popping up on Purple Heart Armory that I saw advertised right before the show started. And we're going to talk about how to improve, what the next steps you need to take when you've been a more accomplished fencer or martial artist. Where do you go from, okay, here I am, what are the tips to get better? And I want to talk about that. Yes, it's delightfully on topic, but first we're going to blast through the lovely comments. And of course, if anyone has questions about Western martial arts, Eastern martial arts, or anything that involves striking anyone else with a stick about the head and shoulders, bring it on by. We will figure out what's going on. But in the comments, we have first through the door our own Foxy. Hey, Foxy. She's lurking in the waiting room with snacks. Snacks are wonderful. Wow, you came early today. You beat me, Foxy, says our own Joe Bachman, the man in the chair, the master of disaster himself. How's everyone doing? That, as I was telling Joe, this has been an absolute week of Mondays. And if Midas were a manure salesman, I would have my story. But we are getting through things. And Joe says, want to see all things Nick? Check out Nick's website, bit.ly/ntalker. Check out Nick's books on Amazon, bit.ly/NickTalker. Ooh, he has been busy. Nick's BSR Quick Play for iOS 99 cents, apps.apple/us/app/Big Stompy Robots Quick Play and all that gobbledygook. And on Android, play google.com/store/apps, details and ID equals com. Joe Bach Tech BSR Quick Play. And Foxy is still kicking. A bit of a cold. Oh no, hon. Be sure to get hydrated, stay warm, rest. It's going to be a couple weeks. That's just how cold you work. And we'll get you through it. The show will be starting in just a moment. Yes, I was talking to Joe, and my alarms for 8 o'clock went off, and I grabbed my pill bottle and went, ah! I don't have my 8 o'clock meds. So thus I went sprinting, careening through the house, wreaking havoc. It happens. Oh, no worries. Not like I'm going anywhere. Well, I appreciate you spending your Friday night with me. It's always nice to have you around, Foxy. Foxy. Well, maybe snacks run out, but snack runs happen. And we're joined by Cindy Kep at www.ckoepp.com. Hey, Nick, I think you're streaming. I'm trying to. I want to see my books, amazon.com/Mr. Nicholas Anthony Talker. Tune into the Historical Fencing Guild, well, now, 7 p.m. Central on Fridays, and 8 p.m. Eastern for those of you. I think that was for the first time in a while I got notified right as the stream started. That's amazing. That really is cool. Nick's Fantastic Arts can be found at deviantart.com. Y'all are plugging for me. I'm like, oh, I'm flattered. And I'm like, okay. Grant Lankard. Yeah. Hi, Grant. Hey, Nick. Good to hear you. And support the Historical Fencing Guild at patreon.com/the Support the Historical Fencing Guild at patreon.com/the Historical Fencing Guild. Don't forget to tip your host, which I appreciate. I'm still standing. Yeah. I have a water, a heat pad, chocolate. Think I'm set. I did not receive a notification. I had to go chase it down. See, Nick, you don't need to do commercials. People do it for you. Oh God, you guys don't know how hard it is for my imposter syndrome when people do nice stuff. It takes a lot of work to get through. But let's see. Did I get that set up? No, I didn't. Cool. We can fix this. Anyway, I want this fixed real quick. Bam. Do it like that. There we go. Now we're all set. And yes, we're gonna hop. We can hop. I heard there was an ad for new gloves, so I want to see what the gloves that we're talking about are, to see if they're appropriate. Now, we have the crook cane, $20 for a rattan crook cane, small crook. So that's very tight. Many organizations won't let you use that with the rapier because of the tightness, and you can't use it as a load-bearing thing. So it makes me a little unhappy. The Ringen jacket is gorgeous, but I don't see a punctuation. Okay, wait. This is actually. I'm gonna scroll through these real quick. They had a couple of those. The Black Friday sales on these cutting boards. I'm very, very tempted to invest in a set or two of those. And the Chibi Fiore. I want to get to this question though, so I will get to Foxy in just a minute. Yeah, nothing new there. And I saw the gloves, they were for knife fighting, and they didn't have big enough cuffs, so I'm not real sure I'd trust them for what we usually do. So we've gone through the deal of the day. I'll go back there when we get to talking gear. But I should be able to just go here and see everybody a lot better. Actually, can I dial up? Oh, it's not doing the zoom again. It's doing the oh, that's fine. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. We're getting through this. All right, now. Let's see. Remember, kids, no glove, no love. That's right. You need to wear protective hand stuff. Your bones in your fingers are very, very small. They are easy to break. Mine have been broken many times. You don't want that. So you want to wear good hand protection. Now, Foxy was asking, do they make youth-size gloves? I have rather small hands. They do in several varieties. For you and the way you are likely to fight, from what I know, I would look into youth-sized lacrosse gloves, because lacrosse gloves, and I have some, they're not here, of course. Aside from having lots of outer padding, they do tend to have a weakness right here. A lot of them don't pad right here. So the knife edge of your hand doesn't have a lot of padding, to the point where I would consider getting some and attaching it myself. But children's lacrosse gloves, which will probably fit you if your hands are that small, will work, and they have the glove is pre-curved. The way the padding is, it sets your hand in a pre-curve. So if you have grip issues, combined with the right kind of guarded weapon, they can actually help with retention. So they can actually lock in and really make it easier to keep control of your weapon. So I definitely would say go down to a Dick's Sporting Goods, a Play It Again Sports, whatever places you have that sell sporting goods, and see if you can find lacrosse gloves. And again, the children's, and try a shoving. What good is a cane that isn't load bearing? Exactly. And that's why I check the gear before I get excited. The purpose of that is because they want a cane that's a good blocking or even a striking cane. So rattan is going to give you a good striking surface, and at that relative narrowness, that flex is what's going to make it a bit safer than, say, the SCA style heavy rattan, which is what, 1.25 inches in diameter. At least it was in the mid realm, shaved down. That they club each other. So you're not quite hitting each other with full-on baseball bats. I don't believe in training in what I don't use unless I am teaching somebody. So I would say that's why I wouldn't buy that. I would far rather get a thicker gauge of rattan that doesn't flex and can be load bearing, or simply use wood and be very careful in inspecting the wood you're using. Let's see. I've broken a few of mine. Fingers? Yeah. So you definitely, that would really benefit you, a set of lacrosse gloves. And children's lacrosse gloves aren't terribly expensive. I could actually do a quick search and see what that comes up as. I've broken 2 fingers, one playing basketball in high school, another from a staff strike when I was around 21. I actually don't know how many times. Well, I know I shattered one thumb by closing it in a car door and pulling it out without opening the car door because I fell. I was trying to prevent my mom from running over a very large rock and ripping out her undercarriage. Now, let's see. Short cuff gloves can be modified. I fixed some rose worker garden gloves with some plain leather I made a cuff for, but they were still way too loose. I've had to keep my offhand curled some to keep the glove from trying off. I tried to parry, which was handy in marshalling and fight certification tests to see if the test taker was paying attention. Yeah. So what you want to find are children's gloves. They are out there. And again, lacrosse gloves are a wonderful thing. The SCA won't let you usually use them, but most other groups that are looking for hand protection, I certainly would encourage their use for HFG agreed gear. I broke my pinky toe on a truck door once. That's not fun. I've also broken 3 ribs, my ankle, 3 toes, and my left hip almost 7 weeks ago. I can't believe it's been that long already. See? 7 months ago. See? Time flies when you're recovering. And be sure to hit the like on this and share this around, because we are going to get into some stuff once we get done talking old war wounds. Kid gloves won't cover my palm. That is the problem. What to do? Because I have the problem of I have very wide gloves, wide palms, but I have very short, stubby little fingers. This is why I don't play piano. A number of musical instruments I simply don't have the span for. I'm very functionally Hobbit-like. I accept this. But so gloves, many times to find gloves that are wide enough, I'll actually have fingertips that flop. There are... So how do you do it? You might be able to find youth gloves. You might find ladies' driving gloves as a basis for just a leather protective glove. The doctor was quite annoyed with me that I didn't set up an appointment and get it set. Just set it myself, split it, and went on with my day. Yes, doctors get annoyed with that, but it also, they forget, depending on your insurance, what it costs. Because we are talking medical things, I will say this. Always go with your medical provider. That's what they're there for. I am not a medical provider nor a medical professional. Please, anything I say is only opinion and not to be taken as a medical advice. Consult your medical provider before you engage in any exercise program, martial art, or if you have any injuries or stuff. I'd rather see you safer than participate if need be. Foxy, that's why I look for youth, Cindy, in between kids and adults. Finger I broke from staff since I was wearing motorcycle gloves, which really didn't have enough palm on the palm side, which coincidentally is where I caught the staff. Yes, that's a common, it's a more common martial arts injury than you would expect. Mandy nearly broke hers if she didn't, because her buddy John, who's been on the show, would block incoming strikes punch style, but he wore steel gauntlets and she was wearing hockey gloves. That's not as much protection. Oh. Let's see. Yes. So you have to tailor your gear to what you do. Cindy, you sew. Could you take the fingers off a kid's glove and sew them onto an adult palm? Or could you get an adult palm and just simply pull it in a bit? If it's a length thing, shortening the fingers on adult gloves shouldn't be that terribly undoable. It's a good idea. Custom tailoring is something that has to happen a lot of the time for many of us. And I don't know any other Franken gloves. Yeah, you have to build your own gear. I had for years these wonderful, they were white, Army surplus gloves I used for motorcycle riding, and then I used for fencing. Gloves are one of the hardest things to find and keep track of. Many times now when I'm fighting, actually, good fencing gloves are on the market of something I need. I have been fighting in these guys. These are welding gloves. These are light grade welding gloves I bought at Harbor Freight. Now, I'll put them on, and I will show you instantly the problem with these gloves. That's one problem. That's the other problem. They are not fitted, and there's a lot of beef between the webbing that can really affect your grip. So I do actually need new fighting gloves. But I mean, if you want proof, these are a suede style glove. See that? And if you look at my fingers between the hot heat work and just fighting with keyhole grip, I have worn the thumb and the index finger quite smooth. So yes, gloves are a thing I am actively looking for. And the gloves that came up on that search were not the ones I was looking for at all. So I'm a little bothered. So I'm going to keep searching and see if I can bring up something a bit better. Now, okay, you know what? Let's see. And when I say I caught the strike, I mean literally the broom handle thrust to my face, used a basic bag deflect, saved my face, but broke my finger. Yeah, I fully got what you were saying. I'd probably pick clashing colors just because. Make them look like jester gloves. Now, that's a good point. Tactically, back in the day, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little warm here. When I fought, I had blued blades. So I had to have the fancy tip, but I had very dark colored armor, dark gloves, and blued blades. It was very difficult to see a lot of what I was doing sometimes. That was very deliberate. That was that metagaming, perhaps, but that was also what was done. Now, if you note, when I am training people or I do things for this show, I often wear my beloved hoodie because it's gray, but the sleeves are a bit long for me. So I cuff them, given this lovely, bright fluorescent band at my wrists, almost like I want my students to see where my hands are going. So you have to balance necessity and style. Yep, see, Johnny Cage believes in clashing colors. Midnight black and noir shadow. Absolutely. And that's one thing you have to keep careful of. You want to vary your blacks. You want to keep your blacks on a shade of noir. You got noir shadow. Noir shadow is such a great color. You could even go for an off black almost technically, what is it? What is that color? It's not deep smoke gray. There's a delightful color through Bic Intensity that's not black, but it looks like you colored black without destroying an all black line work. Foxy, I was thinking green and pink or orange and blue. I'm such a hippie. Now, nothing wrong with going boho, bohemian look. I could see you rock that. Yes. My armor tends to be very utilitarian, and when I go bold, I wear colors. That's me wearing colors to make it easier for my students. Let's see. Come to think of it, my 3 broken ribs also came from staff. Maybe staff will be my nemesis. Well, that actually makes sense. You are a fairly large gentleman with large reach. You're not used to having to protect again. You're used to having more time. So a reach weapon throws off your measure it's going to, because you're used to being outside of people's reach. And having lots of time to decide what you're going to do about any given attack. My Foxy says, my style was once described as the 70s threw up on me. That makes sense. You need to think about what will empower you or be comfortable as a fighter. This year, the return of the nerve stuff of this year has been made it very challenging on me. I'm looking forward to next year. But and my style, yes, okay, cool. But that is something we have to factor. And there comes a point, and I think I'm finally reaching it, where I can look at gear and equipment and go, okay, what works for what I want to do and what makes me feel right? Because I've always been in a level of make do. and when Foxy asked if I was going through a 20-year goth phase, I said, which, yes. I get it. Many of my favorite people are goth. Many of my favorite people are emo. Many of them will argue vehemently, so you know the difference. Aesthetically, I do prefer to run either between Poison Dart Frog or Toad. I'm either wearing very bright colors, and I wear very bright colors often because it makes people happy. And making people happy makes me happy. And it's easier for my wife to find me. But when I'm left to my own devices, I have, for example, a very nice long green hoodie that if it didn't have the silly stripes at the sleeves, on the sleeve, it would be dang near perfect that I wear when I'm out being me. I prefer browns and greens and natural tones. And that's all getting sorted out. Oh, how off of the woods. Howdy, y'all. Hi. Now, see, it's interesting because off in the woods, that's Ryan Coker. And when I think great swordsman, I think Landsknecht. Landsknecht were mercenaries, and they are famous for puff and slash and being incredibly flamboyant. So this does feed me into one of the things that have been bugging me lately. Okay. There are a lot, I'm behind on a lot of movies and series that I want to catch up on. I'm very excited to find out, for example, that Cyrano with Peter Dinklage is now streaming. So I hope to watch that very soon. There was I'll say BBC Three Musketeers. Now, why am I bringing all this up? They depict the Middle Ages on as this muted gray, black, brown, leather depressed era. And really, there was so much color. The ancient world, people loved color. All those white marble statues you saw were painted. When you think of ancient Greece, people think of the white marble. No, that stuff was painted. Frescoes, mosaics. Clothing had different colors for station and ability. It manifests. And in the Middle Ages, there were banners and colors. And if there was wealth, you did it by showing off, dressing like a peacock. Patterns. It was far more artistic than anyone modern is giving it credit. And everybody's dressing like they're Geralt from The Witcher, which I don't have a problem with Geralt from The Witcher. He's a dashing fellow. But that doesn't represent the period very well. And anymore, I find it rather depressing how much television has nearly gone back to being, why do we not even have it in black and white? Just put it in grayscale. Save the bandwidth. But that all aside, getting back to what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about is how to get better. Oh, wait, we got that. It's fun to think opposite. What do you look at whatever style you're studying? I just finished a really neat book on... 1 second. Oh, my God. It fell down. Here we go. been working on my book on, not my book, but Scottish fencing. Delightful book. And whenever you see a book on any style of fencing, of martial arts, and they have pictures, looking at what happens in the transitions, okay, between the guards and the order you go through tells you far more than people want to discuss. Because, well, let's see. Yeah. There was a post I saw recently comparing the actual state of a maintained historical village and footage from a show film there, and the filter they put over it was practically grayscale. It's one of those weird Hollywood tropes, like everything in Mexico is shot with a yellow filter. Let's see. There was a very short-lived series on FX called The Bastard Executioner on FX. It was a good show, but so gray. Exactly. I mean, I hate to say it, but the kind of color you need to think of, this is going to sound odd, but you need to think of the era of television of the Wild Wild West and Adam West Batman. Think of how vibrant those colors were. That's what they were going for. I don't understand this fixation on black. No, not saying I have a problem with people who dress black and black and black, but there are so many people dressing black and black and black and black and black and black. It's either everyone is either a all monotone, or they're walking stock cars where it's like, this brand, that brand. I'm wearing a t-shirt that is not actually a neutral t-shirt. This is not a brand t-shirt. Hold on, I'll show you. This is the Oceans of Possibilities. This is one of the library t-shirts that I was given for volunteering at the local libraries. It's very rare for me to come online. Now, eventually, when I have my own merch, I will come on wearing my merch. That's a master plan. And Hawaiian shirts are practically brand. But the Middle Ages were not a bland, the food was, but, a visually muted period at all. I had trouble watching some shows because they are so dark. Not in material, really, but the screen is so dark I can barely see what's going on, and that irritates me. Yes, the first time I saw Underworld, I was very excited. I went to the theater to see Underworld. There were teenagers being rowdy up front, so they never turned the lights down all the way. So it wasn't dark enough to really watch the movie Underworld, which is basically lit up entirely by the blue light reflected on Kate Beckinsale's assorted latexy, leathery outfits. I mean, that's it. Tooth, claws, blood, and Kate Beckinsale occasionally having that with a flash of pale skin here and there. It was unwatchable. It was a nightmare. So, yes, I see that. Now, to get back what I'm talking about, it is that time of year where a lot of people stop fighting. For medical reasons, I had to step back because I couldn't maintain the outside facilities like I want to this year. I was basically given the choice of do a whole lot of therapy or work. I'm currently wearing dark stonewashed jeans, a long red and black Henley shirt, much different from what I would have worn 20 years ago. I understand that too. That's very close to how I usually choose to dress as winter approaches. I've become more colorful too. I used to be the king of the flannel and flannel t-shirt, jeans, muted colors all around because I didn't want people to notice me for the most part because of both esteem issues and practical reasons. And now because I walk with a cane, I can't not be noticed. So I might as well be very noticed. It's an all or nothing mentality. But yes, a copy of from major a copy of the Major Meyer manual was found where one of its owners paid a painter to come in and paint the woodcuts with bright colors and add gloves to the figures. That's cool. That is both cool and bright colors let you know what's going on. I think it's a helpful approach, especially when you're training. It also makes it easier to spot teams. That's why jerseys are a thing, and they tend to be fairly bright because, you want everyone to see what you are wearing so they can tell whose team they're on. I manage brightly colored but blending into the background of things well. I understand. When I was younger, I knew a guy we called Midnight because his skin was so dark that if he didn't smile or open his eyes, he could hide in the dark. He wore bright clothes so people could see him. I can understand that. And that happens. Some people are just that melanin gifted. I am rather low on melanin. But, I'm sorry, we have a raging windstorm going, and I have a bit of headache. So if I seem a little flightier than usual, I am. But getting back to that, what I want you guys to start doing, for those who are actually training out of the simple sword here, I want you guys, because I'm going to be working more on the rapid rapier, which is a successor to the simple sword, but focusing on a single rapier. Oh, wait, let's see. Speaking of jerseys, ask Glenn how Wales is doing. It will annoy him. Oh, yes. I do not care about sports ball. I don't. I haven't. But I did hear that USA beat England, I believe, and I was going to ask him about that. But thank you for that gift, and I will take that as such, Johnny. I'm glad you joined it. I'm more melanin challenged. People afraid of him just on account of him being so black, but he wore the spot, and it's tragic that he had to think that way. It really is. It is tragic that people have to not be scary. Like I said, I started with the pandemic, especially. I doubled down wearing very bright, as goofy a Hawaiian shirt as I could find, because it would make people smile, like right through their masks. You could see it in their eyes. A couple people actually point and laugh, and I'm for it. Laugh. I don't mind being a bit of a jester if it brings joy to the world, at least, or to one person when I'm out at Wally World. So that's what we need to do. Decide when you're picking your armor, do you want colors that are going to disguise your movements? Do you want colors that enhance who you are, expressive? And if you're thinking period, understand that, especially in the medieval period, bright colors were very much a thing. They were sought after. Now, I want to get back on topic, but if you are training with the rapiers and you're going through the guards, you're just working through like everybody should be when you're not doing anything. Let me get a SSO over here. Am I still here? Yes, I am. No, don't fall. Don't fall. Don't fall. Okay, we'll grab this guy. I'm picking something short that I'm not going to hit my assorted equipment with. If you're going through first, second, third, fourth, right? You guys know these guys. 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me see if I can get the angle right so you can see 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, obviously, I am changing the angle to work better on the camera, but I want you guys to start working in terms of basic combinations. Oh, football, let's see, and hockey are the only sports I really care about. And yes, I prefer soccer properly because hand egg is garbage. Interesting. I found a lovely bit of tawdry history on the origin of the term soccer. But getting back to it. So when you guys are drilling, and you are drilling, I mean, like, seriously, do you drill? Be honest. Do you? If not, why not? Maybe in front of the mirror. Think about what you're doing. So if I go into a low eighth, an eighth, block cutting to the eighth, if I am not chopping the outside of my opponent's thigh region, basically, I'm parrying with it. Okay? So if I'm doing it as a block, well, that sets up for a nice counter into second. So 8-2 makes sense. You get what I'm saying? 6-4. 6, and then you follow upwards. Because if you've maintained contact, you can ride up with a stab to the 4th. You want to think classic quick draw, 5 block. You're set up for an attack into 1st. So you've blocked with 5th into 1st. Think of how your guards interact. I lost the little pole that I usually arm you guys with, but I think I can go grab one. I'll be just a second. I'm still here. I have many of such poles. I have bought them over the years. Doink, and I save them when things that use them break. So, as I've done for a long time, I'm going to arm you. Shot comes in, catch it in 5th, ride down to get into 1st. Oh, I stabbed you so hard you bopped. Sorry about that. Same thing, okay? If I'm in 7th, now 7th wants to turn into a 4th. Look at the way the body line works. So you're in 7th, you can turn it into a very high, where your 4th has almost come back around to 1st. Boom, 4th in. Think about where you're going with your attacks. So if you are, if somebody's stabbing you, you're rotating to the out. Okay, so I've parried into 5th again. And I like this one because it's a common attack. You can ride that down, and that's a shot from 2nd. I hope you guys are getting that, because you need to start figuring out where your shots are coming from. So when you're drilling, after you've done your wake-up drills, boom, 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 make sure the muscles are working. Bam, bam. Don't just reset, parry, reset. No, you want to turn. Okay, if that goes wrong and you miss, turn it into a draw to the 5th. Pressed up and 5th. You get what I'm saying? Because the motion is still like you're cutting, but into 5th. Work into your price. So let's say you do a cut, bam, into a cut to 6th, bam. Wow, very natural motion. Classic SCA cut. Bam. Okay, I've missed, but it's going to turn. It turns into a nice position for a stab from the 4th position. You get that? So it's like I cut. Oh, I missed. Boom. Right up into 4th, or sort of that 3.5, which is a good place to live. 3rd can turn into 3rd, but don't take the time to straighten your knife. You don't need to straighten your knife there. When you're stabbing, theoretically, you want to be, you want to cut down with a very, cuts tend to be vertical, but your stabs you definitely want optimally to be horizontal if they're going mid-body. Your stabs going with the blade going in horizontal make it more likely to penetrate the ribs. So if we're going to teach ourselves, we might as well teach ourselves it right. And yes, I am using the keyhole grip variant on this like it's a sub-hilt, even though I probably wouldn't. I have sub-hilts floating around. But for this particular knife is more comfortable for me. So understand that I would prefer to have the guard over my finger rather than my finger over the guard. That's why I like sub-hilts. But for our purposes, this works. Okay? So if you're cutting, look, I go for a nice cut across, and what I've done is cut into 3rd. You can cut into any of the linear guards. Cut into 4th. Lunge out of it. Thrust out of it. Go for the step and lunge. Boom, boom. Yeah, now when I do the motion, my body is closing the middle road as much as possible. By keeping the middle road closed, you'll see me rotate a lot. I don't just attack. I don't just stab. My body pivots. Now, part of it is I am in an office chair, so I can demonstrate it very easy. But you want to do that. You want to maintain that control because the deadliest areas you're going to have facing you is straight here, between the nipples, straight down. That's the middle road because that's the farthest travel for each hand that's most likely to get tangled up. Now, when you're fighting with one weapon and you have this out of the way, the weapon, the center is at the middle road, so it keeps it unbarred. But as soon as you put a second something in your hand, let me see, what is this easy enough to get out, or am I just up one? Okay, so I've got my walking stick here. Let's say I'm walking along. Now I have a very obvious middle road. You can see it, my face is in. So I have to either parry and block, but if I do this, I tangle. So boom. Okay. What we're doing is integrating the motion and the defense. This is the next thing we should be working on over the winter. I spent a long time going over the basic guards with you, the basic 9. Everybody on this list knows the basic 9 in one form or another, the 9 primary guards. I'll walk you through it if it happens to be your first time here, which if it is, please hit me up in the comments. But first, draw straight, bam. Second, third is where everybody wants to be. Fourth, look at the blade. Edge up, edge to the outside, edge down, edge to the inside. Okay? Those are the 4 linear guards. Now, it's a little, I have to modify it for the window space that I have. Let me see. Can I get back? Oh, I have a little bit more room. So, first makes a lot of sense as a quick draw position because you're getting into this. This is I'm in a narrow space. I'm in a narrow hallway, and I need to clear a large chunk of metal with not a lot of horizontal space. I mean, if I have horizontal space, I'll rotate and get a big sweep to bring it online. If anything is a way of establishing my territory. So it's like, whoop, no, because now I've cut anybody there's a flinch back for a lot of people. Whoop, I've declared this space is my space, and I will defend it. Okay? I have established a perimeter. The circle of blood, which I believe the Boy Scouts call that. Okay. Now, as soon as I got here, I park in what I call 2.5. But first, second, third is straight. 2.5 is this natural A-frame guard, which this is a saber place. This is a nice place to live if you're used to it. But it isn't, it's vague. It's got its bells and whistles. So, I popped into third, very comfortable. Blade toward the bad guy, bam. If a shot comes here, I'm going to go to fourth, parry it out, and write it down. Shot comes here, go to second for a shot here, fourth for a shot here, write it down. I'm just calculating. I flip my own guards, outside, inside. I can keep track. Boom, 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 boom. But that's the basic, no nonsense of how to use a thrusting weapon to thrust. This also lets you cut. So you have these offline guards. Now, offline guards are great when you have enough metal or stick to do something, because if I use an offline guard, I have all this area that is basically shielded from an attack. Oh, Kitty. Hi, Kitty. Kitty says blocking with soft weapons works differently, but the basic guards are very similar. I would love to know more about blocking with soft weapons, seriously, because that is not my forte. And when I don't know a lot about something, I love finding somebody who does. But you see the idea. Now, yeah, I imagine if you're using something like a rope dart, you're using the length of rope to make the block, because even your rope getting cut is a whole lot better than you getting cut. And that's why you have what's called an egg frame. Boom, boom. If I keep this up, all the shots that are coming down are deflected, and I can put them away if I have to, especially if I have a little more length than a guard. But where do you go from here? Okay, you've blocked. What are your options? Well, let's talk about that. I'm going to move it here because my phone, my microphone is here. So if I parry here, No, I have the slide into fourth, right? Boom. I'm just extending into fourth. I've cut into fifth, and I'm second. 5 second. Fifth into second in. Fifth into second in, right? But I could go fifth, come around, and come back down to sixth. But notice that that's a body motion because I'm moving out of the way, knowing where my weapon is going to put their weapon. Bam, bam. That's targeting the side of the neck. So it's coming up and it's going to hit them on that side of the neck. Pow. I really need to get like a little head I can just hold up there to decapitate. But does that make sense? Cool. So far, I think it does. What I want you guys to start working on is playing with where your weapons are going to go after you've done something. And what you want is your goal, and this is one of the hardest goals, is not to go, okay, I stab you, you parry me, and then we reset. You see that a lot. Or you see the parry, patty cake, parry, stab, stab. What you don't see is I've stabbed you, and they're going to parry. So instead of resetting, so I stab past, they're going to go to parry. I adjust my angle, set, and draw, taking that into a draw cut. By evolving the attack, I haven't allowed for the parry to cause a full reset. Or, I was a big fan of, at points in my life when I was fast, of what are called pommel parries. This part of my dagger. So, we look at this. This is one of my actual fencing daggers. It has, of course, seen better days. I do not know what that white dust junk is, but we'll worry about that later. Let me see. If you look, let's see if we can get Sean camera. There is a lot of scratching and marring of this leather pad because I would sweep and literally catch rapier blades here to free up the tip to come in. So sometimes I couldn't catch it here because, reach, sweep out, and go. I learned a lot of sweep parries because my original instructor was a karate guy. So sweep out and go. See, soft weapon blocks, you have to try to make the softer parts more taut. So I will grab a section of the rope, pull my hands apart, making the section of the rope part harder. It doesn't all work always. No, that's very akin to, the belt fighting techniques of the United States Marines. Hand-to-hand using a belt or tie. They'll wrap, catch blocks, and use weapons and things. It's fascinating. It's good stuff to look up. That's what I figured, but I do not want to presume. So what you want, and this is where I want us to live, start thinking in terms of whatever weapon you're using with, what happens after. Say I stab a guy. Here's a shocking thing. A lot of times, the guy won't know he's dead yet. From a real-world perspective or a game perspective. So you need to still be on the guard dealing with the problem from, a tactical martial arts perspective. You're going in, okay, I've got to cut across his face. He hasn't processed that. I still have to be ready to block anything he's throwing at me. And it probably doesn't hurt to follow through just in case he got some kind of ward. There is a way, if you're about to get a draw cut, to disengage your arm and bring it up, have them do the draw cut across your arm. It feels like it feels like they got a good draw on your neck. And in reality, they got a good draw on your arm. Many times people will over-exaggerate their draw cuts. Where this would work, they'll even go full rotation just from the amount of push they're putting in their draw cuts. It takes them offline, and you can just poke them. They're like, you're dead. It's like my arm is. This was something I learned. It is metagaming if you don't plan to armor the heck out of your arm. Let's see. If it works properly and she catches the bladed weapon on the flat, she now has a bind and advantage. we focus on the time armored tradition of don't be there. Yeah, what I love voids. I love how do you parry an attack? I'd rather be over here. That's one thing. Because of the right of way rules in modern sport fencing, you can't counter without dealing with the counter. So it's you're less likely to get the nope and poke that you find in the, say, small sword fencing catalogs, manuals. It's fascinating because I would far rather simply avoid a shot, poke them in the arm, do that for days. I'm too short to get you. I'm gonna go poke you in the arm. No, no. I said no. Go back. I said good day, sir. So what you want to do is develop that fluidity because we think in terms of training. Do my guards. Do my drills. Do my drills. I'm going to put some music on. Okay, now I sound like Sword Sage. That's okay. But I got my jams going. Maybe it's lo-fi, maybe it's a little harder. Whatever. Doing the drills, teaching muscle memory. Well, after a while, when you've got that down, you need to teach more elaborate muscle memory. Where if I parry here, I want to already be throwing the shot. Bam. If I can incorporate it into one motion, I want to. So sweep is pre-cocking the counter. You get what I'm saying? That's what we want to work with. We want to gain fluidity in our motions. Because the fluidity in which we transfer from guard to counter to defense back to attack is where the art of defense lives. The science is understanding what guards block what counters come from it. The art is in the application. Yet parry doesn't work for little people. Many years ago, my absolute favorite training session I ever received during my entire decade and change in the Society for Creative Anachronism was with a gentleman they called Professor Peter. Because of some conflict somewhere, he had lost his spanky titles, but he did not lose his skills. And what he had was a class where he would spar with you and then tell you what you're doing right. Now, Peter was 6'6", something insanely strong. So, I blade to blade. The second I got tacto, my whole body's like, this dude's going to throw you aside. So, anytime he would go to get my blade offline, I'm not going to play a string. What I would do is refuse the blade. Bring it out of his way and maintain a defense. And as soon I make sure wherever he was going, I wasn't there if I could avoid it. And it was I watched the visible frustration. He complimented that. And because I wasn't strong enough then to oppose him. So I didn't try. That's not cowardice. That's not surrender. That's tactically knowing I mechanically can't do that. So I'm going to do this instead. Let's see. Thesis says, one of my favorite techniques is something I call heavy metal Tai Chi. I will play something hard and do soft forms. Your body wants to move faster, so you have to force yourself to go slow. Oh, I love doing that. Because that sort of control, it lets you find different layers in the rhythm that's flowing through you. I adore doing that. I also noticed something interesting. I don't like to train with music going. And I certainly don't like to fight with music going unless I'm with Trelena. And that's because we are already in sync. If you play music loudly while people are fighting, they will naturally try to fall in time with the music. If you fight to your own tune, you're much harder to predict, unless they figure out what your rhythm is. I have found that music that calms is far better for me than music that motivates most of the time. That's why, to me, one of the perfect fight music to have in the back of my brain is the girl from Ipanema. Because it has enough, but there isn't a push. Because if you're fighting and you're doing MMA or you're doing something where you're applying power arts, you want that, let the bodies hit the floor. Good Evanescence could actually, a good driving backbeat. The Foo Fighters, The Pretender, is another good one. Chris Isaacs, Baby Did a Bad Bad Thing. When you're working on speed, you get something with a good driving beat. Pop, 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 pop. When you're working on control, you do slow. And when you're tempted control, I love this. I adore this. Put something driving and then keep your cool. My mental jukebox is random. I understand that. You have to work against your natural inclination, which in turn makes you pay more attention. I've learned that when your mind is focused, it's easier to catch mistakes in your form. Yes. Move slow, learn fast. Move fast, learn slow. Dr. Yang Chewing Ming, I think, loved to hammer that stick down, and I love it. So go slow, okay? On these blustery nights when nobody's up to doing anything, pick your weapon of choice or weapon simulator, or something that doesn't look like a weapon simulator, and slowly go through your forms. Focus on your breathing. I have to. I have ADD, and it's been proven that I forget to breathe. So I have to. It affects my heart rate. Everything has to be monitored, has to be controlled. Find your rhythm, find that slowness. And then once you can find it, you can, it is possible to speed to build the tempo but keep the beats. It's the whole can go once you get there, but you have to have your body learn it slow so that you control the speed. And then when you're fighting, deceptive slow motion with rapid flurries of speed throw your opponent off. So many people think Tai Chi and Bagua aren't combative because how slow you practice them. I love to show people how wrong they are. The problem, there is a problem with Tai Chi and Bagua to an extent, although I do love Bagua. It's people have learned motions without understanding. How do I explain it? It's like learning to sing a song in a foreign language phonetically. Okay? You can learn to sing a song and all the words sound right. The performance is great, but you don't know what it means. You don't know the message you're conveying. So many people have perfect form, but they don't study and train in opposition. So my big problem with Aikido, I love what Aikido came from. I love what Aikido can be. But I don't love how it's approached because they don't stress test it as a rule. So if you never test your art against opposition, what do I mean by that? Okay, somebody who's not inclined to go along with you, it fails. You're going to have that with comedy. You tell comedy around your friends. You tell jokes around your friends, your family. Ha ha ha! You're real funny. You should do this for a living. That's great. First time you get out on stage and you bomb, you learn something. People who love you will tell you maybe your art's good, maybe it's not. Try to sell it. Then you can find out, no, it's not good. Now, if you can find out why, you can actually improve. It's stress testing. So I would say likely 95% of Tai Chi practitioners, especially those who only are Tai Chi practitioners, are not combative. However, the 5% who do are very combative and interesting. And the big part is you have to stress test it. And no art is perfect. That's why mixed martial arts are so interesting. You have to have a triad. You have to understand groundwork. So you have to have grappling. You have to have striking. Grappling, striking, and kicks. And you more importantly have to know how your body works, what your reach is. This goes into the next comment. Dancers are the same way. You don't realize you have an advantage to learning martial arts when you were a dancer first. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Dancers are some of my favorite people to work with because the more dance they've done, the less work I have to do. If they're because dancers are used to maintaining distance from their partner, they know which foot is which and where it is. They know how to keep balance during elaborate moves. I had one student who I no longer have because of a social difficulty, background in ballet and belly dance, and I was having such a blast. We were developing a whole new system for her based on very light, essentially small swords. Paired small swords. Very light, very fast, very efficient. Yes, Joe. Yes, same can be said for pool players and swords. Playing pool helped me with my point control right away with swords. Yes, and give a pool player a spear, friends. And I don't know if this has come in conversation. If it hasn't, it's tragic, Joe. But we need to get a nice, inexpensive spear in your hands and just say, there you go. Because Joe's a good swordsman. He is. He didn't quite get as into it and invested as Trelana did. Bless her heart. But you put a spear in Joe's hands and the world will become a different place. And I think we need to do that. I think come spring, or actually come winter, because you can come out here. You know the rules and you know how to get here. We can put a spear in your hands and just start walking you through spear drills. And I think that will work very well for you. Put a spear and give you a light secondary weapon like a cutlass, something like your dusik. So you wear your dusik on your hip and you train with a spear, and you train that if you drop your spear, something goes wrong, you pull the dusik. That's how we should work with you, Joe. Let's see. Kitty said, I had no idea how well I could fight until Thesis started training me. And you don't know. And you don't know till you find the right trainer and the right style. I'm the chubby troll of the group. Oh, stop it. Don't even do that. You know what? Hold it. Break. Stop. Pause. Hold on. Bull. Okay? One, I've seen pictures of you. I know your build. You're not that off line of several of my students and my wife. Okay? Short, Stout people can fight and fight well. You just have to let yourself and understand you aren't going to fight the same way as everybody, as other people. There are too many short women who are upset. Okay, I'm going to use fantasy terms because it's easy for me. A hobbit, okay, is not going to move like an elf or an orc. And you know what? They're not going to fight with the same weapons, nor should they. They should fight with weapons and techniques that fit them. And it may look different. Guess what? It should. You're a different style of fighter. And you're just getting started out. But one thing you cannot allow is that self-defamating humor. I won't stand for it. Because that is how somebody who has been burnt and had their self-esteem eroded fans the flames because they've been trained to. Someone in your life trained you to do the work for them after a while. I say that because I'm the same way. You want to see Mandy lose her mind. You see her, have her see me drop the line, I'm just a short, fat, furry little man. Oh, she gets incensed. You are early in your training. We will find your rhythm. You need to find a weapon style that suits you. And guess what? You may learn one and move from it into others. You may learn styles that are rather different. We were just talking about Joe. Joe would be great with the spear. He's pretty handy with his dussock. He could belt a dussock, have it hang on his hip, put a spear in his hand, primary weapon, sidearm. He is now happily armed. In melee terms, we can easily add ranged weapons to it. I mean, there is no part of me that wants to have folks, I don't know, get some Nerf balls or some. I really miss the old original like Nerf ballistic balls that were about that big. Oh. And something like, I don't know, I wish they did pre-made sling pockets, chunks of fabric that have a bit of a pouch to them that can easily be tied. And then, you just whip and get going with it. I wish that something like that would exist, that someone could make readily with simple tools. And we haven't even started your deer horn training knife yet. Deer horn knife training yet. We don't know how well that's going to go, but if you choose, you already have an advantage. You got to figure out how your hands move, how your body wants to move, how you want to progress. Like Stephanie, she won't be here because Xander was sick and she has a baby who just recovered from COVID. But little short fighter girl, little short. You put two axes and she'll drumstick on your head, on your kneecaps. You have to find a weapon style that works. If you're aggressive, deer horn knives are great because a lot of deer horn knife is like karambit. Just if you don't know what to do, hold on. Am I still here? Yeah, I'm still here. Karambit. Okay. You karambit trainer. Karambit. Punch, hit, you hurt somebody. Punch, miss, you've now done a big long cut. That pop, 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 pop. You can work a speed bag, work a heavy bag, pop, 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 pop. You've got that. Very simple, very gross motions. Look up the Jack Dempsey book on boxing. And then you're just weaponizing. Tonk. You might really like, and I don't have it up here, trench knife. The Hello Kitty Karambit. The Hello Kitty Karambit is here somewhere, but I had to hide it last time Steve came over because Steve wants it destroyed. That's part of why I need to clean out my study. Probably tomorrow morning in a frantic case because Joe's coming by. And I want to show one a little more comparable. So don't worry about that. One thing you can do, get duct tape. Duct tape is cheap. I have much of it. Thanks to Cindy Cat. Get duct tape. Everybody orders stuff on Amazon these days. Okay? Not as fast, but you're strong. Maybe we need to put an axe in your hand, darling. Maybe a mace, maybe a hammer would feel better for you. There are ways around it. I think you guys ordered my books. Just try weapons out. Make proxies. See what works. You may have to get a bunch of PVC and foam and basically make things in different lengths and sizes and tinker till you find something that works with your body mechanics. It may not be what you expect. And again, spear. Guys, one of the great joys in life are stout spearmen. Okay? Trust me on this one. Spear to glaive to halberd. Oh, give me a nice wide person who takes their spear up, plants their feet, and goes, "No, you move." Give that said person a shield and an axe. No, you move. And you can do that. You just have to find what works. You may really like tonfas. And all these things are weapons and trainers you can acquire cheaply. Yeah, well, what she needs is get about a 5-foot closet pole. Okay? Go down to Home Depot, Menards, Lowe's, whatever you got. Get yourself a 5-foot chunk of stick. Okay? Though that's short, yes, that's fine. It doesn't have to be 8-9 feet long. Although, if you get a chance to try it, you may really like it. Get that and have a backup weapon. Broom handle for days. Yes. Heck, go down and get yourself a good hickory broom handle. You can buy a replacement broom handle that narrows, and then you can get a cold steel spearhead and slide that bad boy on. And yes, ask Ryan. Solid bind work on a longsword doesn't require that much speed if you can get your opponent into it. Don't be afraid to try the different styles and see what works, and then fight it your way. And if somebody tries to get you to fight it a way that's not comfortable, don't fight it that way. Get a basis and do your research. Foxy, you are a sharp lady. No, it does not need to be 8 feet long. And she doesn't have to start with the full range. Just start with the spear strikes. Literally, just hang a throw pillow from or a ball from a string and just practice poking it. You got your bayonet, you got your pool cue. Bayonet, pool cue. That's going to be a huge amount of the technique. It doesn't need to be complicated. And that is one of those, if you can bait your opponent into it. That's what works. That's what helps. I'm not short. I trimmed my nails. Sharp. Oh. Okay. That's adorable, but I've talked to you. You are a smart lady. And you are literate. And you are witty. Therefore, literally blow a couple bucks on my spear book. Read it. You don't need me to teach you staff right now. You don't need a staff book from me. Yes, it's in the works. Ask Thesis. But if anything, just learning to make a broomstick go. I trim my claws. That's nice of you. It is much appreciated. But by using that, you can really get what you want where it needs to be. You just have to have the faith in yourself to try. Okay? And not undermine yourself. Because what that is, you have to understand, that is the echo of every douchebag, pardon my relatively rough language, who wanted to keep you down. They have trained that into you so that they could be lazy. And you're stronger than they are. You're better than that situation that you've escaped. Let yourself be better. Okay? Do your drills. Let me dig through my books just a second. I literally, yep, strong people, not just women, don't always do well with finesse weapons. That's why I suggested weapons that are more to strength. And look, the spear does not need to be complicated. All right? 2 basic attacks that you need to know. Just start with that. Just literally start with a short spear, whatever your short spear simulator, and just do it. Because I tell you what, if you do short spear, if you train in short spear, something will happen. I guarantee. I guarantee. Here it is. Black on black on black. Short spear. Spear. Short spear. This is literally one of my walking sticks. If you don't think I can't short spear my way with this, you haven't paid attention. Do this a lot. Do it at a target. Do it a lot. Pow, pow. Switch your hands. Do it the other way. All the time. Whenever you're bored, you're throwing shots. Watching TV, bonk, bonk, bonk. You're throwing shots. And this is one that, again, Cindy should be able to work with because she could do that with a cane. Bonk, bonk. There's no swinging. You're not clearing much farther than your reach. Bonk, bonk. Now I have a sword. Bonk, bonk. Wait a second. Is that the same motion? Is that the same motion, Arlen? Let's check. Hey, it is. Pick a big motion your body can learn easily and do it a lot. You don't have to build up all the strength in your hand at once, holding the weapon, keeping it on target. Just learn to poke. And this is for anybody. Yeah, I'm trying to help Foxy, but this is for anybody. Train with what you got and try things. Don't chase the elaborate. The temptation is to chase the elaborate. I love watching professionals ballroom dance. I find the precision, the beauty, the grace, and just the physical prowess and presence to be something wonderful. I can sit and watch it all day. I can't do that. In fact, dancing is very difficult for me because of my motion. But I can do a decent box step. And danged if the basic footwork of fencing isn't just a classic box step. Fine, we don't. We are taught that you have to be the best. Even even our boy Ash Ketchum. I want to be the very best. What'd he do? Go for like 18 years and never win a tournament? You do your best. You do it sincerely. And you learn. Pride in your hard work, humility in your achievements. Just put in the effort. And if you hear well, I can't do that, ask yourself why. Because I'm not graceful. Grace is learned. It's easier for some people. Strength is learned. It's easier for some people. There may be a cap. You can only, because of injury, you can only go this graceful or this strong. You will never lift more than this amount. There's no reason to not find out where that is. I think that's what we've been about here. Fluidity and grace come from control and practice. It really does. Strength comes from repetition and dedication. It really does. Accuracy comes from doing the same thing. You need accuracy and precision. Do the same thing over and over again until you can do it the same way and then make adjustments. This is all right. It's all right in there. Okay? So let's we're at nearly an hour and a half in my hour show. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, but this is what the show should feel like. Answering questions, helping people. I hope I didn't ride you too much, Foxy, but I really wanted to support you and build you up. You guys can do what you want to do if you work towards it. I won't lie and say it's easy. I'll say it's simple. Because most things in life aren't easy, but they're simple. If I want to get better at using a spear, I need a spear or something shaped like a spear, and I need to practice with it. And then I need to review my practice to see what I'm doing. If I want more information, I have to read books on it and watch videos. We live in an era where there is this thing called the YouTube. You just go, I want to see someone sword fighting. Bing. And you have a glut that you can go through. There is the Amazon. You want books? You're not limited to your local library or the libraries in, your state or your country. You can get a hold of books from anywhere. Seek them out, folks. This is the good stuff. Now, what I want you to do, and I'm serious, Foxy, if you want any more advice or stuff, feel free to reach out. You know how to get a hold of me. Guys, every week I say, do your drills. Yeah, do them. Refine them. Get better. Keep your guard up because that's how you stop people from poking you. Being kind to yourself and each other lets you be a better human being. And supporting your local sword master, well, that lets me keep helping you. Thesis says, I've been training for Chinese sword for 25 years to consider myself a novice. You can do whatever you put your mind to do. Now I'll stop there right there for a second. Pokes Thesis just goes. Exactly. Thesis sees himself as a novice. That is a humble perspective. Foxy and Kitty and all your students see you as a master because you know more from them. So you have to be the master for them and let the doubt of I'm still a student step back, and you show what you know honestly, with integrity and with humility, and you encourage them to seek folks better than you. That's what I teach. Okay. I consider myself a sort of Western martial arts elementary teacher. My goal is to teach people the absolute basics. And, refinement, basics in a lot of things. And then by talking to them and analyzing, I can say, okay, go look at the works of this person. Go read this guy's book. Go talk to this individual. That sort of yes. Every master is still a student if they are honest with themselves. And we are. The trick is we can't let that stop us from teaching and sharing what we know. for a while there, I've had points where I've only been a couple weeks ahead of the class I was running because no one else could do it. And that forces you to learn and ask questions and be dedicated, because it's not just me. I wasn't learning for me. I was learning to pass it on to the people that, well, that they're not good enough to worry about. But here, I'll show you this. And whenever I get something like that, you bet I'd run and go, hey, they showed me this. Here you go. So you can't lose sight. And do not let the humility of a good teacher make you think, well, if they think they're just a student, I am a lowly worm. So lowly, so lowly. No, that isn't the intention. But that's what people with self-esteem problems hear. They think, if you think you're a student, what am I doing here? Because I'd give my eye teeth to be as good as you are. Why am I here if you're just a student? Because I can't get there. And you start to build those structures, and they're fake. That is your doubt and the oppression that life has put on you, lying to you. And it's a little lazy, because it's easier to not fail. It's easier to not try. At the end of the day, it's easier to not attempt. And sometimes we have to be. Sometimes you have to reach the line where I have been weighed and measured and found lacking. Lord knows I've been there a lot. But then I work on why. That's why I haven't been doing a lot of the drilling and fighting, because I've been doing the physical therapy and just the basic work and changing my meds and stuff to get something back so that I can look at it again and build back up. I look at like video games. He's just a higher level. Yeah, but you can get there, and never let someone else's level above or below you intimidate or make arrogant your view of yourself. And that's for everybody. This is open. This is on me too. Because there will always be greater and lesser persons. There is a wonderful, wonderful little poem. No, it's not quite a poem. It's a writing. It's written by a guy named Max Ehrelman. I want to say in the 20s. And it's a credit to be much older than it is. Called The Desiderata. And it starts with "Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace can be found in silence." The fact that I bungled it means I need a new copy for my wall. But read it. I'm serious. Get a chance and read that. You will find so much simple peace in there. And it's a good philosophy foundation. So I'm really thinking, guys, you may want to let yourself try and give yourself time. It's not going to be today, tomorrow, next week, next month. And there are many. Yes, there are. I just have a different skill tree. But right now, you don't have to worry about the tree. You don't have to worry about the leaves. We are planting the seed and growing the roots. And I'll tell you, everybody who does this has basically the same roots. Balance, perception, stamina, strength. Or awareness. Awareness is better. Balance, perception, balance, awareness, stamina, strength. BASS. I like that. I like that. I'm going to write that down. I want to remember that. That's going on my wall of knowledge. Balance, awareness, stamina, strength. It almost focused. Balance, awareness, stamina, strength. Goes right on the old wall of knowledge. Bass. Probably should be breathing, in all honesty. Center. Then that's where you start. Just stand. Just stand. Figure out what's a comfortable way to stand and breathe. Okay? Literally, this is where you start. You stand, you breathe, you're in the middle of an open room. And take a natural step forward. Take a natural step back. Figure out where that how far that is. That's your natural step. And you just do this. Be aware of where you are. To the right, to the left. Go through the footwork drills at the beginning of the simple sword. You just do it. Don't even worry, because I'm going to tell you, and I say this, before you can fight, you have to move. Before you can move, you have to stand. Stand up. Make sure you are well. If you're standing feet together, you don't have balance. Make sure you're wide enough. Make sure you're at least shoulder width apart. Whatever changes you have to make for your loose, be able to move. Okay? I'm not saying fancy stances. Musashi had it. How do you walk? You walk like you walk. What do you mean, how do I walk? Keep it simple. Keep it natural, because the more natural your action, the less you have to learn, the less adjustment, because you've already spent, 20, 30, 40 years walking. Be aware of it. Be aware of what's around you, and you're standing there, and you're moving, and you're making sure that you're not hitting a wall. And a lot of times that's all you need to do. Just spend time living there. Then you're worried about, doing it for a while. Okay? Build the stamina up. Build the strength. Can you do it faster? Can you do it holding things? It sounds crazy, but if you need to go from the very ground up, as somebody who nearly lost, I've had nerve damage. I've had to kind of figure out how to walk again. You can. Yep, you have strong walk. Yep. There's a special book from Fallout. I can't remember all the skills, but there they are. I can even walk with my eyes closed. I do it often. Then you have a strong root. Balance is part of it. Then work with that. Now try balance holding a trainer. And again, stick is good. 4-foot stick is good. Don't worry about what the stick is. I say this a lot. Okay? This is a stick. This is one of my walking sticks, and I've drilled with it. I will point out, this is not a terribly straight stick. It's a rather pretty stick. It was a wormwood heart I got in the near a place called Europe Lake in Wisconsin. But stick is good. Just start with stick, because once the stick becomes spear, you can train with it. Stick becomes sword. Oh, look, it's two-handed sword. Stick becomes one-handed sword. Stick becomes staff. Stick is good. 4-foot stick. Work on your walk and holding the stick. I'm serious. It sounds farcical. It sounds silly. Walk without rhythm and you won't attract the worm. If you walk without rhythm, you'll never learn. Yeah. But seriously, start with stick. Okay? Hands, stick. Feet are for walking. Okay? A lot of people, you need to kick, you need to. Feet are for walking, especially for those of us of the stout breed. I don't kick higher than knee high. My ratio of kicks are a couple stop kicks. My retinue of stick. A couple stop kicks a knee to the groin or kidney. I don't need to bring my leg up any higher. I'm not built for it. Oh, and a Georgia stomp down for like the arch of somebody's foot. I have been exposed to dozens of different martial arts. I've been exposed to hundreds of different approaches to those martial arts. And what do I fall back on? If it's a nice day, this is my happy stick. It has a little hook. One of my happy sticks. I can hang a lantern on. See, you're very flexible, and you can do that. That means you can do quite a lot. But my point being, I don't focus on it. Focus on balance. That means your balance is good. Work on your steps. Work on the guards. Because I will tell you, the guard system I give you will work with just about any weapon you put in your hands. That's why I made it that way. They're a lot more elaborate with any given weapon you can use. But every weapon I use, boom, 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 cut, 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 cut. This is a karambit. If you wanted to get a weapon more, not rapier, invert it, even easier. It all translates. That's what I use the system I've handed you. And use that as a background, as just the preschool to thesis elementary. And build from there. Try it with the different weapons classes. Try it with mass weapons, long weapons, short weapons. Figure out what works. There is no wrong answer if it works for you. Now we're at an hour 42, and I could probably use a drink and something to eat. I'm starting to get the sweat. See, my stamina's coming up. So I'm going to bid you guys adieu. I've already done a nice sign out, and I got kind of caught up. You guys managed to catch me. But Foxy, I believe you need. Everyone else in this build believes you need. There's a Discord that Thesis and Foxy set up for the Historical Fencing Guild. There's a Facebook public group. And most of these people have ways you can get a hold of them. And you can always DM me on Twitter at ntalker. And you can get, we'll be happy to help you with any answers. And if we don't know, we'll say we don't know. And CityCap says, thanks for hosting the adventure. It really is a privilege. And don't forget to tip your host. Yes, if you're feeling generous, you can actually financially support me through paypal.me/Nicholas Tucker. Or if you buy anything from woodsource.com, add question mark, let me get there, question mark click equals 1745 at the end when you log on. That will get them traffic, and we have proven recently that I will get my 2% kickback. That is just a way that doesn't cost you anything, but helps me both build a little bit of premise with the group, with Christian Dorst. They know I'm working and I'm putting the stuff out there, and it gets me a little extra money. So consider that. Be sure to support the people that you know here. You can go try bit.ly/ntalker for my main page. It is really simple right now. It's just some links, but it will be built up in the near future, especially with the instability of Twitter, at www.nicholastucker.com. And that's where you'll find my art and my book links and everything. The link for my art, the book links for my books, the links for what I'm doing. I plan to do more. On the other, so subscribe to this if you haven't. Like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to the Nicholas Tucker YouTube channel where I do art and I do stop motion videos and things. And I do a 3 times a week show. Also, big announcement time. I almost forgot. Hold on. Let me. I forgot that I had a big announcement. And I'll get that out there as soon as I can. Let me go here. If it will let me show it, and I'm going through Twitter because of reasons. I want to go to my account. Oh, I just do that wrong. Sorry. Many of you don't know, but one of my jobs is the wow, that is, here we go. I am a game designer. And if you want to support me, please consider getting involved with the Hybrids of Sons of Gods, the role-playing game, because I did the game work for it. They are crowdfunding it. So I will put that link in the chats. It will launch, I believe, in January. We're supposed to launch before Christmas, but we had to get a different layout guy. So this is a good way to help support me and support Luke if you like modern RPGs. Other than that, folks, I will see you next week right here for another episode of the Historical Fencing Guild live stream. I'll see you all very soon. Have a lovely night. Stay safe.